Hello, and welcome to our historical coverage. Today we turn the spotlight on the Ottoman Empire during the 19th century, a period often referred to as the sick man of Europe. This was a time of reform, upheaval, and the gradual erosion of one of history's most powerful empires. The Ottoman Empire, which had once dominated vast territories across three continents, faced unprecedented internal and external pressures during the 19th century. By this period, the empire had already experienced decades of decline following the peak of its power under Suleiman the Magnificent in the 16th century. Administrative inefficiencies, corruption, and a series of military setbacks had weakened the once feared state, and the empire's leaders recognized the urgent need for modernization. In 1839, Sultan Abdülmecid II initiated the Tanzimat reforms, a bold attempt to modernize the empire along European lines. The Tanzimat period, which lasted until 1876, represented a sweeping set of changes targeting the empire's legal system, military, and education. Central to these reforms was the goal of creating a more unified, efficient, and just administration that could resist the pressures of rising European powers and internal nationalist movements. The Tanzimat reforms introduced a number of progressive measures, including the declaration of equality for all subjects of the empire, regardless of religion or ethnicity. This was a significant shift in a society that had long been organized along a hierarchical system favoring Muslims while granting lesser privileges to Christians and Jews. These legal changes included a modernized criminal code, the establishment of secular courts to complement traditional Islamic law, and new regulations aimed at improving property rights and taxation. Education reforms were also implemented, with the creation of modern schools, colleges, and military academies designed to produce skilled administrators and officers for the empire's bureaucracy and army. On the military front, the Tanzimat reforms sought to reorganize the Ottoman army along European standards. New training methods, uniforms, and technologies were introduced to ensure the army could compete with European forces. Yet, despite these ambitious reforms, the empire faced significant obstacles. Resistance came not only from conservative factions within the palace and the Janissary Corps, but also from regional governors who often ignored central directives. Corruption, favoritism, and entrenched patronage networks slowed the implementation of reforms, making it difficult to achieve lasting change. While the Tanzimat reforms sought to stabilize the empire internally, the Ottomans also faced mounting external threats. By the mid-19th century, European powers had become increasingly aggressive in pursuing territorial expansion and influence at the expense of the empire. One of the major military confrontations during this period was the Crimean War, fought between 1853 and 1856. The conflict pitted the Ottoman Empire, allied with Britain, France, and Sardinia, against Russia. The war was primarily fought over control of the Black Sea and the protection of Christian minorities within Ottoman territories. While the Ottomans, with the support of their allies, managed to resist Russian expansion, the war revealed serious weaknesses in the empire's military and logistical capabilities. Supply shortages, outdated fortifications, and organizational inefficiencies hampered the Ottoman war effort, underscoring the urgent need for modernization. The aftermath of the Crimean War did little to strengthen the empire's position. Throughout the latter half of the 19th century, the Ottomans continued to lose territory in the face of nationalist uprisings and European encroachment. In the Balkans, nationalist movements among Serbs, Greeks, Bulgarians, and Romanians steadily eroded Ottoman control. Wars against Russia, including the Russo-Turkish Wars, resulted in further territorial concessions, weakening the empire both politically and economically. The Ottomans also faced economic challenges during this period. European industrialization had transformed trade and commerce, but the empire struggled to modernize its own economy. Dependence on traditional agricultural production, coupled with poor infrastructure and the influx of European manufactured goods, undermined local industries and created fiscal strain. To finance modernization efforts and cover military expenses, the empire increasingly relied on foreign loans, which further eroded sovereignty and made the Ottoman state dependent on European powers. Despite these setbacks, the 19th century was also a period of cultural and intellectual ferment within the empire. The Tanzimat reforms encouraged the adoption of European legal, educational, and administrative models, which contributed to a growing sense of Ottoman identity and modernization. Newspapers, journals, and schools became vehicles for spreading new ideas, while intellectuals debated the future of the empire in the face of internal and external pressures. However, the reforms ultimately could not halt the empire's decline. Nationalist movements continued to gain momentum, and European powers increasingly interfered in Ottoman affairs. By the end of the 19th century, the empire had become fragmented, with substantial autonomy enjoyed by provinces and significant influence wielded by foreign powers. The Ottoman state, once a dominant global force, was now largely seen as the sick man of Europe, a term reflecting both its weakened condition and the precariousness of its survival.